For your consideration, the personal views and opinions expressed in this series are those of Stellenbosch students and not the official views of Stellenbosch University or its faculties.
Die taal ding is regtig vir my sleg want ek kom in klasse en dan het ek 'n Engels klas en ek is Afrikaans huistaal en in sekere klasse is dit weer Afrikaans en ek voel my opinie is die universiteit by dit uit. Hulle wil sê ons is 'n diverse university en ons is cater vir al die tale, maar daar's mense wat nie Afrikaans praat nie wat in Afrikaanse klasse sit. Ek voel hulle moet twee klasse hê, soos 'n Afrikaanse BE klas en 'n Engelse BE klas en cater eerder ordentlik vir al die tale as wat hulle dit saam probeer gooi en sê ja, ons is so diverse en ons cater vir almal, maar daar's mense in my klas wat daar sit en wat nie verstaan wat die persoon daarvoor sê nie. En ja, die slides is dalk in Afrikaans of in Engels, maar dit kom nie by die persoon wat klas gee nie. Ek meen, jy kan dit nie compare nie. So vir my, dit is baie sleg want ek sit in sekere klasse en soos in wiskunde byvoorbeeld gister het ek net in Engels klas gehad en die ou praat van sekere wiskunde terme wat ek weet ons gedoen het verlede jaar in matriek, maar ek weet nie wat dit is in Engels nie. Dit beteken nie my IQ is laag nie, dit beteken net dis nie my huistaal nie en ek voel daar word in 'n sin teen my gediskrimineer want soos ek betaal om klas te kry maar nou kry ek dit in 'n taal wat ek nie verstaan nie.
I think being English at all Afrikaans, well not all Afrikaans, but a predominantly Afrikaans university, is that I've had no problem with the language policy because I think our degree was kind of split in that half English, half Afrikaans portions. Obviously the English portion I understand better, but the Afrikaans is actually beneficial because then at the end of the day you come out with a degree, whether you like it or not, whether you've thought of it or not, you've picked up Afrikaans a lot better than you would have if you go to an all English university. So I've come out with much better Afrikaans and that'll only, I think, benefit me in the workplace, having both languages. So it's not something I'm upset about. I see this as a learning, benefit, learning benefit.
Me being all Afrikaans and only doing everything in English, again, I kind of see what the complaints is all about. I'm not strong in English, but yet I chose to do my whole 4 years in English and never struggled once. There's always been resources available to help me in English.
The thing is, no matter what language it happens in, there'll always be someone that's unhappy, and then they'll get a group of people that's with them, and then that group of people will make cack or whatever, and then that's how it goes. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I feel the same. I mean, South Africa's got 11. I probably want to add sign language as well one day. That's 12 languages, so it's impossible to cater for everyone. And you know, unfortunately, I'm also Afrikaans, but I've had to adapt. Some of the lectures are in Afrikaans, but then again, the textbooks are just English. So I mean, I've learned to study in English and improve my English as well. But I'm not complaining about it because it has to be done. Also, we've got to realize that any degree, if you want to go overseas, which most people probably want to do, and you go there and you want to go and speak a different language that, let's say, an African language, no one overseas can understand that. So English is your pretty much your universal language.
And instead of complaining, if you're sitting in a lecture and they're speaking a language predominantly that's not your home language, and you don't understand something, don't complain about it because you don't understand. Go and ask someone. Don't, sit and sulk. I don't understand. It's this university. It's this language. Make a plan. Understand it. Get in your own language and carry on. Take initiative.
It comes down to attitude. If you don't change your own attitude, then the system won't change. Because once they sort out one problem, you're just going to find another thing to complain about until you change your attitude.
Compromise.
Boom.
But then and again, if we're going to go and say like you want to be taught in every single language that you are comfortable in, then we're going to end up with like 11 different classes, and then we're going to have an issue with finances because now we have to pay much more money, we have to get more lectures, we have to get more buildings, and then the fees are already an issue for us. And if we're gonna want like every single thing done according to what we want, we're just gonna have to be able to split up the money.
Well, I had a tat the other day, and I'm English, but I had it in Afrikaans. The thing is, I'm not going to complain about it being a racial issue. I think that's a fault with admin, and that's a problem in the system, and I can't attach a language to a certain race and then say that somebody's oppressing me. I think it's more a fault in the system, like I said.
Well, the truth is, if people are complaining, like people can complain
For no reason.
for no reason.
No reason at all, yeah. So if they're complaining, it means
there's something that's
there's
not
something
happening
that
right.
that's not
and then,
happening right.
I mean,
like you
nothing
said.
could happen overnight.
Yeah.
And we really hope that everything comes down to settles, like
Yeah.
everyone feels accommodated. I feel like there's nothing more to it more than everybody being accommodated. Because
Honestly,
that's the biggest thing that could happen right now.
yeah. There's a lot of diversity in this university, that's for sure. And that's one thing I like about this place. But it would be really good just for this place to be able to accommodate everyone, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like just everybody to be accommodated, everybody to be happy.
Ek dink ek sou nie so groot probleem gewees het as die universiteit dit nie so groot adverteer het dat ons bilingual universiteit is. Want ek dink toe het almal skielik gevloed hiernatoe en soos okay, jy gaan in Engels of in Afrikaans kan klas kry.
Soos dit voel vir my Stellenbosch is meerendeels 'n Engelse kampus en as ek dit geweet het dat dit meerendeel Engels sou wees, sou ek eerder na universiteit soos Potchefstroom toe gegaan het wat ek weet die klasse in Afrikaans gaan wees. Want dis 'n groot soos ja, swat is nie net swat nie, dis ook social en dis kursusse en alles is lekker, maar aan die einde van die dag jy is hier om 'n graad te kry. En dit help nie jy sit in 'n klas waar jy nie kan verstaan wat die mense daarvoor sê nie. Jy met jou hand na elke sin opsteek om te vra om vir hulle te vertaal nie. En dan is daar van die mense wat nie eers Afrikaans kan praat nie.
Questions give you the Afrikaans first, and then I read it, and then I'm confused.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not. It's irritating, but it's nothing you'd really.
And you get used to that.
Toys out the
Yeah, but like they still kind of prioritize that.
Yeah, I know you get used to it, but I don't think I've ever gotten used to it. I still get confused reading that.
Cool stuff, Sid. What's
I'm
this
like, what
again?
is this?
Oh, carbon dioxide, of course. That's not the same thing. I'm sorry, Afrikaans people.
I was just thinking.
Don't judge our Afrikaans abilities. Most of us here are very English.
Actually, no.
I know you two are really Afrikaans.
I'm
but
kind of.
you only ever speak English to us. I've never heard you speak
Ik
Afrikaans.
kan Afrikaans praten. Okay, this doesn't matter.
I know, but still.
Anyway.
It is a bit difficult for an English student here as well because learning all these accounting concepts in Afrikaans, hearing them and now having to translate them, that makes it difficult for us. And I think that's where the lack of understanding sometimes can happen. So to a certain extent, I can also say I'm not too happy with the whole Afrikaans / English and whatever. But certain lecturers try and help you out. Some of them not so much.
But I can say that the majority are really helpful and they will try and help you they can. It's not all the lecturers. Just want to put that out there. Just some.
So yeah, the language definitely plays a role. I'm bilingual, fluent in both, I believe. But there's definitely, if you study in English but you get class Afrikaans, it definitely impacts on your studies. Even if you're bilingual, you still have to kind of focus in English, and if you constantly hear the lecture being in Afrikaans, like Ron said, you have to make a switch of translating that from Afrikaans to English. And even if you're bilingual, it is sometimes hard to do that switch as quickly as possible because in class you have to run through the work. So the language policy definitely plays a role, but like Ron Karen said, they're trying to accommodate us, they're trying to make it easier for us. But I believe we'll only be convenient if it's fully English or fully Afrikaans and we're able to choose which way we want to go.
I think maybe in science or something it's more English.
Yeah, in the science faculty in first year we were split. We had English classes and Afrikaans classes and you could choose which ones you wanted to go to. But then from second year onwards it was generally a mixture. So again, you could also put up your hand and say, look, I can understand that in whatever language, but it was mostly English as far as I can remember. There were some lecturers who were quite set on speaking Afrikaans, but somehow we made it work. The notes were in English, or you could really put your hand up and say, look, I don't get it. And they were patient and they answered your questions. I don't think I ever had a problem with Afrikaans as an English person when I did my science degree. So I don't know, in the
BA is very English, very, very English, what I found. But then also some of my subjects were English and quite English.
Yeah.
But still, it's quite English. So I think maybe there's just a few people that don't accommodate and they should change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone should speak equal amounts of English and Afrikaans. I don't think anyone should just give a class in Afrikaans because that's not fair.
Or just in English.
Or just in English. No, everyone should.
There should be a
able
balance.
to-
Yeah.
And as long as your textbook's in English, if you need it to be,
I think.
so that no one's like getting left behind. That's
Exactly.
really-
It really depends on the materials that you have at the same time. If there's no textbook, if there's none of that sort of thing, then there should be. They should make it more accessible. For instance, having like a course framework of notes or something like that. That if you are going to be switching between the languages, both students should be able to refer back to those things to get a broader understanding of what's going on when you're talking about that particular part. But if there is a textbook, you can go read up on it. And
You
if you
anyway
have-
need to study for your test.
Yeah, it's a prescribed textbook. You need to study it anyway. So if you don't understand after reading the textbook, then you can go ask the lecturer. Again, that's a mistake a lot of people make. They have this belief that that your lecturer speaks to you in class and that's it. That's not the point.
You can make an appointment with them.
Yes, you can engage with them outside of class through meetings and appointments and these sorts of things, and then you can have a private one-on-one thing to make sure that you understand the concept.
Yeah, and take your test paper and go ask where you went wrong.
Exactly, get example questions in preparation for the test. All these sorts of things. It's not rocket science to really do well in the subject, even though you might not understand all of the stuff going on in class. You maybe took 5 minutes more effort, to arrange an appointment or something like that. Yes, and it might take half an hour of your day here or there. You're going to learn a lot.
Consult the textbook and then really go to the lecture and be like, listen, I've looked at the textbook and I still don't know what's going on. Now can you really help me? I think lecturers appreciate the fact that we put in the effort to try and figure stuff out. But I do think that in terms of the language policy and all the issues, they need to look at the specific faculties where it really is a problem. Like, to be very honest, I don't want Afrikaans to be removed from the law faculty because I'm learning this language as I go.
And makes us employable.
It's exactly.
Because if you want to work in the Cape in a law firm, you have to be able to speak at least some
Joburg
Afrikaans.
and Pretoria and stuff, if you can speak both languages, you just have such an advantage over someone who can only speak one language. And so that for us is extremely beneficial. And if they had to remove Afrikaans and only make it English, I'd actually be quite sad.
And also we wouldn't have all our Afrikaans classrooms everywhere.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. No, that's very true.
Oh yeah, and also we should take this thing of languages like, no, it's bad for me, no, I understand Afrikaans, I don't want Afrikaans, I want English, whatever. I feel like if you see that, okay, now in class there's been someone is speaking Afrikaans or whatever, it's also an opportunity for you to learn that other language. So it's not really...
Shouldn't be still.
Yeah, it should be.
I think to be multilingual in this day and age, especially in South Africa, it's going to be on the long run a huge advantage to you. But I don't think that you should receive your primary education if you do not understand it at all. They do say that you learn by receiving tuition, but no, man. If I want to follow my passion, I want to do it in a comfortable position, man. Where I'm able to learn at my best. And currently, there's a lot of students who can't perform optimal.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel.